Good morning, Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia, Mr. TV Narendran, Mr. Sanjiv Puri, Mr. Vishal Kampani, Mr. Vineet Agarwal, ladies and gentlemen. We are delighted to have you with us at AIMA's National Leadership Conclave, the 11th in its series, and I thank you all for joining us for this special session with one of the key leaders of India's economic growth and technological transformation. Mr. Scindia, it's always an honor to welcome you, and we are delighted to have you with us this morning. India's management fraternity deeply values your guidance and friendship, and we look forward to hearing your perspective on how India can sustain its global growth leadership while shaping advances in new technologies. Sanjiv, thank you for joining us today and for chairing the jury of this year's AIMA Excellence Awards. Your support has been invaluable, and we are delighted to have you with us this morning. We are also joined today by the distinguished winners of the AIMA Excellence Awards, Mr. Shaktikant Das, Mr. K.V. Kamath, and ISRO represented by Mr. Dinesh Kumar Singh. We deeply appreciate their gracious acceptance and are delighted to celebrate their achievements with them. Narendran, Vishal, and Vineet, thank you for your leadership and for guiding AIMA in putting together this conclave. Ladies and gentlemen, when this conclave was planned, the outlook was very different. Before the war began in West Asia a month and a half ago, India was poised to achieve GDP growth of nearly 7.5%, had concluded a significant agreement with the EU, and was managing the impact of US tariffs reasonably well. The two-week truce between US and Iran offers hope of a return to normalcy, but the war's impact so far would have to be addressed. The chief economic advisor recently acknowledged that the conflict in the Gulf will inevitably affect growth. He has cautioned that fiscal and current account deficits may widen, and the cost of disruption in energy supplies will need to be shared by government, businesses, and households. Nevertheless, India has fared better than many Asian economies with lower fuel rationing and price increases thanks to the diversified sourcing and the government's priority on consumer protection. While industrial activity slowed in March, the Purchasing Managers' Index remained above 50, signaling continued expansion despite headwinds. The communications sector has shown significant resilience. A leading telecom company recently secured a $1 billion contract in funding for its data center projects, reflecting strong investor confidence in India's digital and AI capabilities. Global SATCOM companies are preparing to start services in India, and one of them has approached ISRO to launch its communication satellites. The expansion of phone and broadband subscriptions in February is another encouraging sign. With 1.32 billion phone subscriptions and 1 billion broadband connections, India has the intrinsic strength to sustain growth momentum. In today's program, we will hear from top leaders on India's strengths and vulnerabilities, its challenges and opportunities in a volatile global environment, and strategies to ensure that Indian economy continues to grow despite temporary setbacks. I'm confident that you will enjoy the diverse discussions which will provide valuable takeaways. I hope you enjoy the day. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request President AIMA, Mr. TV Narendran, to deliver the welcome address.
Good morning, everyone. Mr. Scindia, the Minister of Communication and Development of Northeastern Region, Government of India. Mr. Sanjiv Puri, Chairman, AIMA Excellence Award and Jury, and the Chairman and Managing Director of ITC. My colleagues from AIMA, Rekha, Vineet, Vishal, our past presidents who are here, council members, members of the AIMA's local management associations and AIMA's members, distinguished guests including Mr. Shaktikant Das, Mr. Kamath, and all the other dignitaries who are here, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to have you with us this morning, and a very warm welcome to you to AIMA's National Leadership Conclave. Honorable Minister, many thanks for joining us today, for agreeing to share your views on India's economic growth, transformation, and resilience. Thank you also for agreeing to felicitate the winners of this year's AIMA Excellence Awards. A very warm welcome to you. AIMA deeply values your engagement with industry on these platforms, and thank you for coming and joining us many times in the past. It's my pleasure to welcome Sanjiv, who has chaired the jury for this year's AIMA Excellence Awards. Sanjiv, thank you for joining us today to celebrate India's finest leaders, and also welcome to the National Leadership Conclave. I also want to acknowledge and welcome my AIMA colleagues, Vishal, Vineet, and Rekha. This is the 11th year of the National Leadership Conclave, and if we look back at the themes that we've taken up over the years, they read more like a diary of India's evolving ambitions and anxieties. We started in 2015 talking about smart cities and digital transformation, and then came conversations about disruption, data economies, and the opportunities of a new decade. Then COVID hit us, and the conclave pivoted to survival, reimagining, and rebuilding. More recently, we have discussed India's tryst with 2047, and last year about growth, innovation, and responsibility. Each of these themes reflected the priorities of its time. But if I had to pick a thread that runs through all of them, it is this: can India grow fast enough and stay resilient enough to fulfill its promise? That is precisely why the theme for this year's conclave and for AIMA's programs this year is growth with resilience. Not growth alone, not resilience as a defensive crouch, but the two together, because in the world that we are operating in today, one without the other is a half-built bridge. This decade began with a pandemic. It was an enormous disruption, but the governments responded, science moved quickly, businesses adapted, and societies found ways to cope. But what followed COVID was a succession of shocks, fractured supply chains, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and the resulting energy and commodity volatility, rising trade barriers, sharper technology controls, and growing disruption in key shipping routes with the recent West Asia crisis. Globalization has not ended, but it certainly cannot be taken for granted. What we are dealing with now is not a single crisis, but a shifting, layered set of disruptions, a slow and steady erosion of the rules and assumptions on which global commerce was built. The challenge is less about withstanding one shock and more about how to navigate when the ground itself keeps shifting. That is why resilience is so important. And for India, this moment is both an opportunity and a challenge. The challenge is obvious. While we are diversifying our sources of energy and critical minerals, and we must, this diversification is also a layered vulnerability, not just dependence on imports, but dependence on the geopolitical goodwill that allows these imports to flow. At the same time, there is a real opportunity for us in India. In a world looking for trusted partners, diversified supply chains, and stable growth markets, India can strengthen its position significantly. The opportunity for India is not only to make for itself, but to sell to the world. The real test is to be good enough to be able to do that. This brings me to what the heart of this conclave is about. Geopolitical attrition is likely to remain a feature of our landscape for some time, and so as a country we need to leverage our demographic advantage and scale that our domestic market can offer. We need to be able to build our own destiny and make ourselves less and less vulnerable to the decisions of others. Over the years, the National Leadership Conclave has become an important platform for such a dialogue. What makes it valuable is not just its scale, but the quality of discussion it enables. Honorable Minister, we look forward to hearing your views on how India can strengthen its economic foundations. We have an excellent set of speakers with us today, and I look forward to hearing them, and I'm sure you do too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I now request Mr. Sanjiv Puri, Chairman, AIMA Excellence Award Jury, to address the gathering.
Shri Jyotiraditya Scindia, Honorable Minister for Communication and Development of Northeastern Region, my colleagues from the industry, Shri Narendran, President AIMA, Shri Vishal Kampani, Senior VP AIMA, Shri Vineet Agarwal, VP AIMA, and Mrs. Rekha Sethi, Director General AIMA, distinguished guests. In particular, I'd like to also welcome Mr. Shaktikanta Das and Mr. KV Kamath. Ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed a pleasure and privilege to be here at the AIMA's National Leadership Conclave. Let me begin by complimenting AIMA for their Platinum Jubilee. That's a tremendous milestone indeed. Honorable Minister, we are indeed grateful to you for sparing your valuable time to be with us today. Your dynamism and inspiring commitment to national priorities have been a hallmark across diverse roles that you have led over the years. Under your visionary leadership, our nation is making tremendous progress in expanding its communication infrastructure, making it a global exemplar in high-quality voice and data connectivity. This is indeed critical given that extensive, fast, and reliable communication is fundamental to accelerating inclusive and sustainable growth. Under your stewardship, India has emerged as a leader in shaping the future of global telecommunications, actively engaging in the international era on issues like 6G technology standards. Earlier as India's Civil Aviation Minister, we have witnessed the pivotal role that you have played in transforming the sector, expanding air connectivity through the UDAN scheme and improving airport infrastructure and accessibility. We will indeed look forward to hearing from you on your vision for India's communication sector and the larger economy. I'd like to thank Mr. Narendran and the AIMA leadership for the privilege of chairing this year's jury for the AIMA Excellence Awards. It's been a pleasure and privilege to engage with so many distinguished business and management leaders as we collectively went through the nominations to decide the winners based on the criteria set by AIMA. Let me thank every member of the jury for their rich insights and valuable advice. Special thanks to KPMG for their inputs on the nominees. It is indeed a matter of pride that India has been enriched by eminent leaders who have shaped and contributed to the nation's journey towards a Viksit Bharat. Today we will have the privilege of facilitating some of them. It is the jury's privilege to present this year's AIMA Public Service Excellence Award to an eminent and distinguished government administrator. My heartiest compliments to Shri Shaktikanta Das for his extraordinary public service as a bureaucrat and as Governor of India's apex bank, the Reserve Bank of India. Shri Das transformed RBI from a controller of inflation to a facilitator of growth and has aptly led its technological and regulatory transformation. I would also like to congratulate Mr. K.V. Kamath for being selected for the AIMA Lifetime Achievement Award for Management. Mr. Kamath has been an iconic figure in Indian banking in recent decades. He has spearheaded the universal banking revolution in India, provided pioneering leadership to new multilateral financial institutions, and was instrumental in providing leadership opportunities to outstanding women in the banking sector. It is indeed AIMA's privilege to honor him for his exemplary contribution. This year, we have a very special Public Service Excellence Award for an institution which has become a catalyst for economic, technology, and security transformation of the country. That is ISRO. ISRO is not only leading an explosive growth of the Indian space industry, but also shaping India's hard power by enabling dominance of the skies. We thank ISRO for its contribution to India's tech achievements, and we are delighted to recognize its leadership. The AIMA GRD Tata Corporate Leadership Award is being conferred to Shri Mukesh Ambani, who needs no introduction. Under his visionary leadership, the Reliance Group has evolved into a global force in energy, petrochemicals, telecom, data centers, media, retail, finance, sports, and more. He is unable to join us today and will receive his award at the AIMA's National Management Convention in September. It is quite befitting that these awards are being presented at the National Leadership Conclave, which is highlighting India's growth and transformation in uncertain times. Indeed, we are living in a world that is being reshaped by powerful forces. I call this turn, turbulence, uncertainty, rapid change, necessitating novel strategies. From geopolitical fragmentation and trade uncertainties to technological disruptions and the climate crisis, today's landscape is marked by both unprecedented challenges and new opportunities. Escalating tensions across regions are triggering rapid, multi-channel shocks across supply chain, industries, and societies. At the same time, advancements in tech and AI are dismantling traditional models while unlocking new frontiers of speed, scale, and innovation. Volatility is no longer episodic. It is systemic, demanding bold adaptive strategies to reimagine the future. Amidst these global challenges, it is inspiring to witness the transformation of India as the fourth largest economy. This is a defining moment for India, presenting unique opportunities unfolded by progressive government policies and a youthful population, rising income, urban growth, rapid digital adoption, and a vibrant entrepreneurial spirit. To keep this momentum going, it is imperative to make strategic supply chain choices, intensify efforts to a greater value creation in the economy, As India's influence grows globally, vast and transformative opportunities await. It is indeed apt that AIMA has chosen to focus on India's growth transformation and resilience in this National Leadership Conclave. I am confident that the deliberations today will provide deeper understanding of these issues involved and provide some new ideas and solutions to reimagine the future in a turn era. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. We now move on to a very special segment of this morning, recognizing excellence and honoring those who have made outstanding contributions to nation building and management. AIMA Special Award for Public Service Excellence for 2025. Our first award recognizes exceptional contribution to public service and national development. Indian Space Research Organization is making a unique contribution to India's space endeavors, economy, security, and knowledge. It is building indigenous technologies for space transformation, earth and solar observation, weather forecasting, agriculture monitoring, communication, teleeducation, telemedicine, regional navigation through NAV-C, and disaster response. It is transferring launch vehicle and satellite technologies to the private sector while offering an assured market to expand India's space industry and extending knowledge to universities, enabling development of 18 satellites. Founded in 1969, ISRO has grown into a leading space agency known for technological excellence and cost efficiency, having launched more than 100 launch vehicles and placed more than 430 satellites. Its achievements include missions to the Moon and Mars, progress in human spaceflight, development of the Bharatiya Antariksh Station, and missions such as Aditya L1 and ExpoSat. A source of national confidence and global soft power, ISRO continues to elevate India's standing. All India Management Association is pleased to confer the AIMA Special Award for Public Service Excellence on Indian Space Research Organization through Dr. Dinesh Kumar Singh, Distinguished Scientist and Director of Human Space Flight Center. Congratulations, sir. May we request you to say a few words, sir?
I stand here on behalf of 20,000 strong Team ISRO to receive this special award. Thank you, AIMA, for that. This will strengthen our spirit to pursue the excellence for service of nation, and we, through our space program, we will definitely contribute to the nation building and public service. Dr. Narendran could not attend this function because of his pre-engagement. He has conveyed his gratitude to AIMA for recognizing ISRO for this particular special award. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Congratulations once again, sir. Our heartiest congratulations once again, sir. AIMA Lifetime Achievement Award for Management for 2025. This next honor celebrates a lifetime of leadership, vision, and contribution to the world of management. A transformative business leader and a distinguished global banker, he is synonymous with the founding of ICICI Bank and the BRICS New Development Bank, and is credited with breaking the glass ceiling for women leaders in India's banking sector. Under the leadership, ICICI transformed into India's leading private universal bank across banking, insurance, and asset management. As CEO and MD, he set benchmarks in innovation, expansion, technology adoption, and women's leadership. He led the retail banking revolution in India, helping fuel consumption-led growth, making banking a 24/7 business through internet banking and ATM networks. An institution builder, he was chosen to lead the New Development Bank. A respected strategist and a corporate leader, he has served on boards of leading organizations, including as chairman of Jio Financial Services, a board member of Reliance Industries, and an independent director on the board of Schlumberger. He has been conferred the Padma Bhushan, one of India's highest civilian honors. All India Management Association is pleased to confer the AIMA Lifetime Achievement Award for Management on Mr. K.V. Kamath, Chairman, Jio Financial Services. Congratulations, sir. May we request you to please say a few words?
Honorable Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia, all our friends here, I'm overwhelmed and humbled by this recognition. I must say that I accept this on behalf of all the companies that I worked for, all my colleagues who have helped me achieve whatever little I could do over the last 30-35 years. Because it's they that truly deserve this award. I also must say that India gave me the, I would say, the footing to do a few of the things that we could do over the last 30-35 years. And my firm belief that we are just starting. And Viksit Bharat, the long runway is ahead of us. So there is a lot of work to do. And I tell myself every day that I need to work harder to make sure that Viksit Bharat happens. And I'm sure that it will happen with all our hard work. Good wishes to all of you. And once again, let me thank AIMA for this recognition and for Honorable Minister Scindia for handing over the recognition to me. Thank you very much.
Heartiest congratulations, sir. Our next award is AIMA Public Service Excellence Award for 2025. The next award recognizes distinguished service and impactful leadership in public administration. A civil servant with more than 4 decades of distinguished service in diverse areas, including finance, taxation, investment, and infrastructure, Mr. Shaktikanta Das possesses a unique contribution of experience of both policy formulation and implementation at the highest levels of state and central government. His long and illustrious career has included distinguished spells such as the Governor of the Reserve Bank of India, Revenue Secretary, and Secretary, Department of Economic Affairs in the Government of India. He played a key role in introduction of Goods and Services Tax, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, and Flexible Inflation Targeting Framework. He served as India's alternate governor in the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, New Development Bank, and Asian Infrastructure and Investment Bank. He represented India in several international fora, including the IMF, G20, and BRICS. He also served as director on the boards of SEBI and RBI and as a member of the 15th Finance Commission. During the COVID-19 pandemic, he spearheaded RBI's multi-front measures to ensure stability in the economy. He also brought the government and the central bank on the same wavelength. As RBI governor, he's promoted growth with substantial interest rate cuts and facilitated adequate liquidity. a key catalyst of digitalization of the Indian economy, he enabled extensive digitalization of payments and other financial services by fostering UPI expansion and regulation of fintech companies. He is continuing to assist the government with his policy advice and coordination of the Prime Minister's office with various ministries. All India Management Association is pleased to confer the AIMA Public Service Excellence Award on Mr. Shaktikanta Das, Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister of India. Many congratulations, sir. May we request you to please say a few words?
Good morning. I'm delighted to receive this award from Sri Jyotiraditya Scindia, Honorable Minister. I'm extremely thankful to AIMA and the jury for considering me worthy of this award. Over the years, in various capacities, whatever public service I have done, I must say, and I really mean it, has been an outcome of teamwork in the organizations where I have served. It's a feeling of humility with which I receive this award, but then we have a long distance to travel, all of us, to build Viksit Bharat 2047. Thank you.
Congratulations once again, sir. May I request you all to please extend a big round of applause for all of our awardees. Your contributions continue to inspire and strengthen India's growth story. It is now my privilege to invite Vice President AIMA, Mr. Vineet Agarwal, to introduce the Honorable Minister.
Good morning. It is my privilege to introduce the Honorable Minister. A young veteran in politics and government, he's a leading generational transformation of India's telecommunication and postal sector. During his leadership of the Communication Ministry, India has achieved almost universal voice and data connectivity. Today, more than 80% of the population has access to latest 5G communication networks, and most of the villages in the country are connected with optical fiber. The Honorable Minister is leading India's advance into the next generation communication technologies. He has made India one of the anchor countries for developing 6G mobile communication, which is set for commercial launch in 2030, and is committed to contributing at least 10% of 6G patents of the world. Under his leadership, India has joined the SATCOM revolution as well, and the country is set to start consumer and commercial SATCOM services soon. No spot in the country will remain out of communication reach. Mr. Scindia is striving to increase domestic production of telecom equipment and devices to ensure self-reliance and security as a critical infrastructure. Always a modernizer and innovator, Mr. Scindia is also reinventing India Post as a commercial, technology-driven, logistics-oriented organization, which will provide a big boost to digital commerce in small towns and villages. As the Minister in charge of development of the Northeast region, Mr. Scindia is driving substantial investment in communication, transportation, energy, and industrial infrastructure to a critical part of the country. Under his leadership, the perennial volatile region is on its way to join the mainstream economy and increase its contribution to national GDP. Earlier, Mr. Scindia has led the aviation and steel ministries and made a big impact there as well. A patron of education, he is the president of the renowned Scindia schools, and he is associated with the Delhi College and the Madhav Institute of Technology and Science. A cricket lover, he is the chairman of the Madhya Pradesh Cricket Association. Always a friend of AIMA, it is my pleasure to invite Honorable Minister of Communication and Development of the Northeast region, Mr. Scindia, to address the National Leadership Conclave. Thank you.
Seated on the dais with me, TV Narendran ji, President of AIMA, Rekha Sethi ji, Sanjiv Puri ji, the President of the jury that selected these renowned Navratnas of India for our awards today. Vineet Agarwal ji, Vishal Kampani ji, and most importantly, members of AIMA, this renowned institution that has contributed in an exponential manner to India's path of growth and development. It indeed is an honor for me today to be present on a red letter day for an institution that has really changed the paradigm of management thought and practice throughout the length and breadth of our country. And that too, on the occasion of 70 years of its existence. So a warm congratulations to AIMA on this foundation day, an important step towards its future. A platinum jubilee in many ways is, for any institution, time made visible. And I recall when India as a country celebrated her 70th year. And on that 70th year, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendran Modi, India took a decisive step, a courageous step, a step that would be accompanied by maybe some discomfort in the present, but would set the foundation for the country for the future. And that, ladies and gentlemen, in 2017 was the introduction of the GST system in India. Now, almost a decade later, in 2026, we look at the results of that fundamental reform. In March 2026, the collections in 1 month alone have been upwards of 2 lakh crores. For FY 25-26, fiscal 25-26, the collections have been upwards of 22 lakh crore. And in many ways, what began initially as a reform for our country has now become her very foundation. And therefore, India has changed. We now think for the long term. We put in place foundational steps that will transform lives of 140 crore people across the length and breadth of our country. And therefore, in this environment, especially with global instability that surrounds the world today, what matters is not only growth alone as a sufficient parameter, but it is the character of that growth. And along with the character of that growth, it is also the capability of that growth to be resilient. And if you take those parameters into account, India certainly stands out, but not as an exception. India stands out as an exemplar. The topic of today's discussion, Transforming for Tomorrow with Growth and Resilience, is a lived reality in India. It's a lived reality that combines discipline. Along with discipline, combines foresight, and along with foresight, a level of confidence in our long-term trajectory. And over the last decade, under Prime Minister's leadership, we have evolved a framework to be able to deliver on this qualitative as well as quantitative, resilient growth paradigm. And that framework, ladies and gentlemen, is the 3S framework. The first S is stability. The second S is scalability. And the third S is strategic autonomy. And India has been able to demonstrate across all three parameters. Stability, where our macro fundamentals on a decadal CAGR growth rate have been profound. Today, India is growing on a decadal CAGR growth rate at the highest rate across the world. Along with that stability comes scalability. And when we talk about scalability, it allows the execution of not only infrastructure, but the tools that are capable of transforming every single life across the length and breadth of our country to be able to reach over 1 billion people. A very easy number to pronounce, but over 1 billion people with both precision as well as speed. And the third S that I spoke about, strategic autonomy. When you look at India's capability of strategic autonomy, our ability to ensure growth that remains secure, that remains confident, that remains sovereign, and that remains calibrated. Now, one of my famous classical economists, Joseph Schumpeter, coined a frame which he called, quote unquote, creative destruction. And the concept of creative destruction is when old systems are completely replaced with new paradigms. But those new paradigms are not incremental in their capability, but are monumental in their capability. And India has evolved her own concept of creative destruction. She has redefined the variables that go into that regression equation, if you will. And if you look across 4 or 5 parameters in India over the last decade, when we talk about technology, India today has become the second largest mobile phone producer across the world. Our manufacturing ecosystems, whether steel, automobiles, mobile phones, are today at global scale. The second largest producer of mobile phones in the world, the third largest producer of automobile systems in the world. And we are setting in place in India today not local manufacturing ecosystems, but global manufacturing ecosystems. The second parameter, if you look at, which is infrastructure. The scale of building out national highways. 34 kilometers a day. Are robust arterial, physical infrastructure, arterial systems. We built 74 airports, my former portfolio, in a period of 65 years. Today we have 160 airports, which means a delta of close to 86 airports in 10 years. If you look at the area of railways, in another 3 years, we'll have a wider, deeper, speedier railway system than the United States of America. So infrastructure today, the physical infrastructure, one that you can see with the naked eye, today is at world-class level and world-class execution level in India. If you take a segue from that to the social sector, the fact that today we have lifted 250 million Indians above multi-dimensional poverty. It speaks about the capability of inclusion to ensure that every single citizen in our country, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Bharuch to Tawang, is part of the India story. If you look at the concept of health, today we have the world's largest health program instituted in India. 410 million Ayushman card holders, all guaranteed with a 5 lakh health cover. Impossible to imagine over a decade ago. And so is the case with what were erstwhile fragmented markets that have come onto a unified platform. So is the case with informality, which has given way now to structured systems in India that are reinforcing every citizen's confidence in India's capability with scale and with speed. And this architecture, if you will, is what India needs to be able to navigate the choppy waters of instability that this decade has propounded. And when we talk about instability, I would like to quote the famous poet Percy Shelley, who always asked the question, and I quote, "If winter comes, can spring be far behind?" Unquote. And yes, a global winter has set in. Right in our neighborhood. Take, for instance, the Strait of Hormuz. A narrow arterial strip that today can have a chokehold over world energy supplies. And therefore, in this environment, the current instability has sent shock waves through the global system. Shock waves that have disrupted supply chains, erupted geopolitical tensions. At the same time, energy markets have been fundamentally affected, and the rhythm of trade is suddenly experiencing very, very high and low octaves. And it is in this environment where energy is our backbone that India has been able to navigate these very choppy waters. The Prime Minister over the last 4 weeks has put in place a very structured system which covers my ministerial colleagues, covers bureaucratic systems, covers all chief ministers of states, a whole of India approach, not only a whole of government approach, but a whole of India approach to be able to navigate the so-called unsurmountable problems and to convert those problems into opportunities. And with that thought, India today has been able to put in place engagement across multiple nations. Our Indian vessels are today moving through the Strait of Hormuz, whether it is Shivalik or Nanda Devi, reaching the shores of India, and at the same time, ensuring that all constituencies within India are protected from this volatility. This speaks of a maturity of our democracy, a maturity across diplomacy, diversification, and decisive execution. Now, if you take the example of what has happened internally, the 10 rupee reduction in fuel prices has given a huge amount of relief both to our consumers on a retail side as well as industry. And this, whilst if we look across the world, there has been an exorbitant rise in fuel prices, 25 to 30% in South and Southeast Asia, 30% in North America, 20% in Europe, across the board. And at the same time, our food grain reserves are being protected. Yesterday in Cabinet, we just approved a 41,000 crore policy for fertilizer subsidy to ensure that our agrarian system remains robust. And therefore, if I may use the phrase, all hands on deck. And that phrase, ladies and gentlemen, includes all of you as well. Because we succeed, and I've said that to many people seated on this dais, we succeed only when you succeed. And it is when you succeed that Bharat succeeds. And that has to be our view as a country. And so while we talk about external pressures, it's also important to talk about internal new practices, new ideologies, and new systems. And I believe that even internally, we must reinvent with purpose. We must scale with efficiency. And at the same time, we must give service with sustainability. And if you take these three parameters, for me personally, there is no other department that can expound these three parameters better than my very own India Post. With our network of 1.6 lakh POPs, points of presence, across all of urban India and 6.5 lakh villages, we are on the road of transforming this vast network into a logistic powerhouse. A logistic powerhouse not only for India, but it is our ambition and our commitment, a logistics powerhouse for the world. On the 17th of March, we launched 3 new products. 24-hour speed post, 48-hour speed post, 24-hour speed parcel. These speak of commitment. These speak to capability to service. These speak to the concepts of Six Sigma. And we are measuring them across all 6 metropolitan city pairs where we are servicing today to ensure above 96% delivery across all 3 new products. An organization that grew in terms of revenue at very slow multiples. Last fiscal, or I should be saying now the fiscal before last, 24-25, we closed at 13,280 crores in terms of revenue. And it is my confidence that this past fiscal, FY 25-26, we will show the country double-digit growth rates in the Department of India Post in terms of revenue. Many of you may not know, but today we are a cost center to the Government of India. And it is our resolve within our department, 4.5 lakh Dak Sevaks and our department. And we work as a family. My father always looked at his railway men and women as his family members. And this was a department that I was entrusted with first when I became a minister in the Government of India as a Minister of State. And therefore, I have a passion and a relationship from the heart with this department. And these 4.6 lakh Grameen Dak Sevaks have resolved that we will move from being a cost center to GOI to hopefully being a profit center to GOI by the year 2029-2030. And whilst we talk of India Post, we must also talk about the invisible digital highway that the Prime Minister has built over the last decade. The telecommunications highway. India had the fastest 5G rollout in the world. 500,000 towers, 450,000 crores worth of capex. In a short period of 4 years, 400 million consumers. And our 5G consumers will go from 400 million to over 1 billion by 2030. And that's why I say, we followed the world on 4G. We marched with the world on 5G. But we will lead the world on 6G. And similar is the case with our DPI infrastructure, our United Payments Interface. Think about it, 20 billion transactions a month. $3.4 trillion exchanged over our UPI infrastructure. And we're not talking about big transactions like Tata Steel or Hindustan Lever. We're talking about the Rediwala sitting in Ashoknagar or in Begulsarai. Small ticket transactions. But the capability to digitize every single person across the length and breadth of our country. And so is the case with the capability of our DBT network, Direct Benefit Transfer Scheme. There was a time in India where a former Prime Minister said that if 1 rupee is sent from the center, only 11 paise reaches the ultimate Labharthi. Today, the Prime Minister presses a button in Delhi, or a Chief Minister presses the button in some part of his state, and immediately the money reaches the bank account of the Labharthi and you get a WhatsApp or an SMS on your mobile phone. Taaliyan thodi kam baji. Now let me give you the statistic. Wait. 550 million bank accounts have been created. 2 times the population of the United States of America. 550 million, 55 crore accounts being created, and over $72 billion have been transmitted directly into accounts by DBT. Now, can you comprehend that a decade ago? And this, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, is only the beginning. What we have achieved, in consultancy parlance, India is going through an S-shaped growth curve, where the bottom part of the S is infancy of a system. The middle part of the S is the growth phase. And the top part of the S is when a system reaches maturity. And we are at that inflection point between infancy and growth. And let me give you an example. A 10% increase in broadband growth capability across our country will lead to a 1.5% increase in GDP. Now comprehend that. And sensing that opportunity, the Prime Minister has put in place the amended Bharat Net program. No country in the world has conceptualized that. $17 billion being spent by Government of India. 1,39,000 crores. For what? To connect every single village across the length and breadth of our country with OFC fiber. और इसमें भी बहुत बड़ा परिवर्तन है. पहले जमाने में क्या होता था? कॉन्ट्रैक्टर आ जाता था, he'd win on L1, construct the road or the highway or the broadband capability, and गायब हो जाता था. उसके बाद चल रहा है कि टूटा है कि डाक है कि लिट है, भगवान जाने. In this 1,39,000 crores, 45% of the money is for capex. 55% of the money is for opex to be able to maintain that fiber for the next 10 years. Now that's the transformation that India is going through. And when we are going through this transition, transformational growth, growth with resilience, the next 5 years or the next decade speak of another $1.5 to $2 trillion being added to our GDP in terms of opportunities. And if you all heard the budget, and I'm sure people at AIMA did, it is a budget that has taken India onto a new growth paradigm. Never before in budgets in India you heard about AI, green hydrogen, data centers. We are now speaking about the next revolutions that are to come. And in India, we always had government that used to follow the private sector. Today, I can proudly say on this stage, under Prime Minister's leadership, we have a government if not leading the private sector, at least walking hand in hand with the private sector to lay the foundations of the next enterprises to grow this country. And therefore, I say to you on this stage today, the Prime Minister is standing with each one of you. Government of India is standing with each one of you. I am here to service each one of you. Government's role is no longer to be a regulator. Government's role now is to be a facilitator, to partner you to reach your potential. And therefore, today, ladies and gentlemen, on the landmark day of AIMA, the Platinum Jubilee, let us pledge ourselves, all of us together as Indians, to take our country from our Amrit Kal to our Shatabdi Kal and ensure the translation of the commitment of Viksit Bharat 2047 in our lifetime. Thank you very much for having me.